So here we are having a bit of fun today. This is a rural airport about 45 kilometers from my home. I'm here with a friend of mine, Gino. He's a combat pilot who's now flown for nature conservation and projects like that all his life. Thousands of hours in the air. Loves old vintage cars. Give it a try. So this is Gino doing all the business, the heavy lifting, and here I am effing around doing a video. Here's the plane we'll be flying in. It's one of Gino's planes, the other still behind it. This is Gino's biplane, which has been refurbished from beginning to end. Here we are, about to do the dirty deed, with trusting my life in Gino's hands. Last bit of equipment, that we can talk to each other in flight. About to take off. Bumping along the runway and a very short takeoff time. It's a very powerful engine. We're up into the air, about to circle across these beautiful rural lands with the mountains in the background, and then heading towards the coast. You see, it really is a beautiful rural area and lots of rivers threading through it. That's why these steep gorges. This is the town about 26 kilometers or 20 miles away from us, called Knysna. It's a very popular resort as well, situated on that lagoon. And this is a small private estate just heading towards Plettenberg Bay, about 6 miles away, 10 kilometers. That's the river Nutsi, where it is situated. All those homes below were actually originally castles, and this is heading out towards Plet now, the peninsula that stretches out into the bay. It's about 5 kilometers off the mainland, 6 kilometers, about a 9-kilometer walk. It's a nature reserve. I've walked it many times. It's a spectacular place in itself. And there's the beautiful bay. Swinging back around looking at the Robberg itself, as that's the pathway that you can walk on, stretching along the side there. There's a huge seal colony here, and actually you get great whites chowing them. That's a very, very, very wealthy bit of real estate all along that beach. Really, really expensive homes. And then one sort of hotel that's been here since the 70s. These are the sort of snake-like river effects you see on rivers all around the world, created, I believe, by the spinning of the earth, Coriolis effect. And then we've whizzed past our homes, now just going to do a big bank around past an island. This is in the middle of this huge riverine estuary, where two rivers meet, the one on the left, one on the right. This island actually belongs to the family that are my neighbors in the state where I live. We're going to do a whiz around, swing around the back of the island and do a sharp bank here, and then swing down and land on the strip. Gino thinking that at some stage he can just leave the plane there overnight, which we probably might do next time. There's a little sort of boat mall there, and then you come down and do, I think it's called a slip landing, which would be in a high wind. We've got to sort of bank the plane and come in at an angle. Gino was just practicing it. It's a little bit more bumpy than what I was used to, but then back in the air, and then cutting the engines right back to, I guess, just above stalling speed. No idea quite what it is in miles per hour, and then heading down just over the surface of the water of the lagoon, so we could have a closer look at kind of where we live. And that is a golf estate now under the wings, designed by this Gary Player, the famous South African golfer. There's his home with that tall cypress, to the right of that cypress tree. We'll just be passing under the wind strut now, coming up there between the two struts. That's one of his homes. And then I'm going across to our estate, which is alongside, And there's Gina's home with a little blue roof, my home next to it, and the neighbours, one of the neighbours who owns the island. Some beautiful homes here in the little private estate. It's like a little tiny little nature reserve in itself. Really lovely. And the golf estate behind us. There's a caravan resort, holiday caravan resort that's been here since the 50s. A local junior school, and then swinging out, banking out across the town again where we came in, and then we're going to head out in a big circle around to see the Robberg again, stretching out into the ocean. A great wind barrier against the storms that come out of the west, making it a very protective bay. And then it really put on its best colors for us, and they're swinging around. We're going to head out again over the lagoon, but at a much higher altitude, and then swing around again as sort of a 360 degrees and head back to the town of Knysna, and then the airfield where we came from, making it about an hour flight around. My batteries had all exhausted. I was flying using the SLR, the Canon, to do this footage, and first time I used it on video, and it works really well. The rest of it is done on my iPhone, which then ran out of batteries as well. So the last part of the flight I'm not going to capture, but there in front of us is the highest peak in the Cape, Formosa Peak, which means beautiful in Portuguese. The people who first discovered this bay, calling it Formosa Bay, or the Bay Beautiful. And then great for me to see the river from this height, the actual clear patch in the middle, which is where the deeper stream is, and all those grasses are the breeding grounds for the fish that actually feed the dolphins in the bay. And then back around past the rivers, heading down towards the runway and a safe landing. And to be quite honest, Gino is an incredible pilot. You know, I saw a side of him I don't normally get to see. Very serious, chatted to me the whole way through, but I never felt even worried for a second in his hands. He really knows what he's doing. Very different to the really humorous, crazy neighbor that I have across from the fence. We get on really well, and we spend a lot of time together. So here we are, back on terra firma, bouncing along and ending a really great flight. So after a wonderful day's flying, wonderful morning, get back on my bike, and I got to head into town to do a little bit of business. That's the sort of end of a very nice digital entrepreneurial day, I guess. It was just a fabulous flight, beautiful conditions. Love riding my bike as well, so couldn't be a better day. So how do you end a perfect day of flying over this lagoon? You come down and you have a swim in it in the evening, and it really has been a perfect day. Certainly is definitely part of the lifestyle that I've created, and that the digital lifestyle is going to sustain for me.